Israel and Iran continue to exchange fire as United States troops remain on standby. Human rights activists, a Washington-based group, has reported over 600 deaths in Iran. Close to half of them are civilians. 24 deaths have been reported in Israel. Iranian missiles caused serious damage at 4 sites in central and southern Israel. Tel Aviv confirmed that a ballistic missile hit a hospital in southern Israel's Beersheba. A spokesperson said that people were injured in the strike. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the damaged site and has vowed to make Iran pay for their actions. Israeli forces retaliated by attacking Iran's Arak heavy water nuclear reactor. Iranian state media said that no radiation danger has been reported. Israel's military had warned people to evacuate the area around the region just a couple of hours before the attack. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has said that he is still weighing his options on United States military intervention in the escalating hostilities. His comments came hours after Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, warned that any strikes by the US on its territory would have serious, irreparable consequences. Joining us right now to discuss the latest between Israel and Iran and the possibility of US entering the war as well is Vardhan Shringla, India's former foreign secretary. Ambassador Shringla, thank you very much for joining us. This war has now been on for a week. It's clearly escalating. Do you see any way out or possibility of a ceasefire, or is this going to only boil further and become a larger conflict?
I think the only conclusion to this conflict will come about either if there can be a satisfactory conclusion to the Iran-US agreement, and now on US's terms, or if Iran's nuclear capabilities are degraded significantly. These are the, I think, only two scenarios under which this conflict will come to an end. I envisage, at least a few more days. It's already been about a week since the conflict began, and it's likely to go on for a little longer from various indications that we are seeing.
Right. Ambassador Shringla, the Israeli government had said they chose this moment to attack Iran because Iran was just months away from having a nuclear bomb ready. This has been claimed earlier as well. What do you feel about this claim, which is very difficult to verify as well?
So we have to look into the circumstances just before, Israel launched its Operation which is essentially, its attack on Iranian facilities. One, of course, is that the IAEA Board of Governors voted overwhelmingly to say that Iran was non-compliant of its non-proliferation obligations. Now, this is a very strong statement coming from a UN body, and considering that no such similar statement has been made in decades. The IAEA had earlier reported that Iran was secretly conducting nuclear activities in 3 sites, in 3 different locations. In other words, there were 3 locations that were not disclosed to IAEA. So this is, in a certain sense, triggered the IAEA Board of Governors decision. The second, of course, is that, the US-Iran negotiations were not going from the US's perspective as planned. President Trump called Iran's approach towards the negotiations as unacceptable. There was a proposal by the US, and the Iranian side was giving a counter proposal. But Trump also referred to the fact that 60 days had been given to conclude this deal, and we were on the 61st day. So there are some, there's a bit of background to this particular situation that we see ourselves in now. And of course, it's anybody's guess, whether, or it's a matter of opinion, whether this justified the sort of attack that we are seeing from the Israeli side, and whether there was enough effort by the Iranian side to come to some agreement that would allow them to have to the use of peaceful uses of nuclear energy, at the same time to ensure that there were enough safeguards in place that Iran did not go into have the ability to make nuclear bombs.
if US goes into a war, sir, it is being said if bunker buster bombs have to be used, if Israel has to be able to eliminate those deep underground nuclear facilities in Iran, then US will have to get in with those bunker buster bombs. What will be the implications, according to you, as someone who has seen Iran, United States, Israel, all these countries very closely? If you put Iran with its back to the wall, how will they retaliate?
Well, there's been talk of U.S. involvement, but President Trump has held the cards very closely to his chest. He has not, he's made it clear that he's not taken any decision one way or the other. I would think that he would wait for certain triggers. Either Iran attacks, one of the U.S. facilities or a U.S. Military, a target in that area, or it closes off the Hormuz, Straits of Hormuz. Some actions that could trigger a U.S. response to justify a sort of involvement, there is every effort made. I mean, the U.S. has been asking Iran to come to talks unconditionally. I think that has been rejected by Khamenei. Ayatollah Khamenei, and so from that perspective, at least as of now, that doesn't seem to be the. But at the same time, Iran is talking to the Europeans, UK, France, Germany, and the EU, and talks are scheduled, I think, later this week. They are also sending signals to other interlocutors that they would want to resume negotiations where they left off after 5 rounds. But my sense from the US's from various statements we've seen from the US is that they will want Iran at this time to come back to the talks basically on an unconditional basis. In other words, you've accepted the entire terms put forward by the United States, which is that enriched uranium will not be maintained in Iran. It will be taken out and maintained in a consortium of some Arab states. Iran can use it to run its civil nuclear energy program, but there will be very intrusive inspections to ensure that there is no weaponization of the uranium that is available. And it is only under those conditions can an agreement be concluded. So either you conclude an agreement or you end up completely ensuring that your nuclear capabilities are taken away. And as you said, I mean, it will require U.S. involvement to hit those nuclear installations that are deep underground, especially in Fordo. But Israel claims that it has already significantly degraded the capabilities by attacking ancillary systems like the electric system, other systems that actually enable these underground facilities to work, and the centrifuges that are located there to be able to function, and those are already now affected. But how long will they be out of commission? When will they come back into action? When will Iran, if it is left to the current state of affairs, be able to resume its uranium enrichment, which is already at a very high level, very close to weapons grade uranium? Will that come back soon? Will it take a few years? Nobody can really say, but I guess the issue is whether the job is fully done, half done, not adequately done. All of these are questions that it's difficult to say because we are going only on the basis of public reports and statements. We don't have access to inside information which is based on objectivity.
Right. My question would also be, sir, on how would India be impacted if the Strait of Hormuz is shut down? We get 40% of our oil supplies through the Strait of Hormuz. We get 54% of our LNG supplies from there. What will be the alternative if the crisis deepens and the Strait of Hormuz is shut off?
Well, take the case of the Suez Canal. The fact that the Houthis have been targeting shipping along the Suez Canal has already diverted a huge amount of traffic, maritime traffic, away from the Suez Canal, which is the conduit for most of our trade into Europe and the West. And I think that has increased our shipping costs and our export costs by some 20% to many of these countries. So there is an impact just of that one action. But you can imagine that if the Gulf is embroiled in a larger conflict, the Strait of Hormuz is closed, some of our areas there get affected. I think it will really impinge on our energy security. We have a 8 million strong, community, Indian origin or Indian citizens who live and work in the Gulf region. That I think would be an enormous, challenge for us to ensure repatriations and evacuations, and of course, it will definitely impact on economic flows and activities that are so important to us. And the Gulf region is so important in every way. So we have a lot at stake and a lot riding in that region. And I think, the statement that was issued by government early on to say that, we are closely monitoring the situation. We are highly concerned with the way things are panning out, and, advocating de-escalation, recourse to mechanisms that would provide for dialogue, and diplomacy, and essentially, also saying that we are in touch with the Indian community in Iran and Israel. Basically, there is concern that this entire thing could go out of hand, and this is the last thing we want to see. But at the same time, obviously, you do understand that this is a conflict which is not within anyone's means to immediately control. So the best you can do is to watch the scenario very carefully and try and sort of mitigate to the extent that you can any fallout that could be arising as a result of this.
Ambassador Shringla, thank you very much for joining us on the program today. That was the former Foreign Secretary and the Chief Coordinator of the G20 in conversation with CNBC TV 18.